Hey everybody, I am Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how you can paint this really gorgeous dragon. It's a black dragon in a purple magic forest. We're going to be doing this on a round canvas today, but if you're at all concerned about that or wondering what you would do if you didn't have a round canvas or a different size, be sure and look at the comments of this video because I have pinned an article on what you can do, easy fixes that don't even require you to go shopping. And also, if you wanted to try out round canvases or the products that you see on the show, I have links to those on Amazon. So you're covered either way, lots of tips and ideas, and the moderators will probably be sharing that throughout the video. Now, I'm going to be explaining this all real time with the help of my husband, John.
Hey, guys.
And what we basically do is we have a lot of cameras. They're robotic. They zoom in. You will see the color mixes as they happen really up close. You will see the techniques really up close. We will explain everything, go through it. We're going to have a really nice, relaxing Saturday vibe today. So even though that this is a 3-hoot piece, I think you guys will be really surprised at how really doable it is. And again, don't click away because this is round, because I have a great solution for that, which my community has been handling real well. I'm actually super proud of them. I want to say hi to everybody in the live chat I see this morning. Have we gnomed anybody?
Oh, yeah.
The gnomes are out, which is
just gone.
Our text notification system. It's what we call our texting system. I have here a 12-inch wood round that I have gessoed twice. I saw a question in the chat starting out, I think it was Jackie, was asking, do I need to gesso? If you're going to do the wood, I would either do 2 coats of white paint or 2 coats of gesso, because wood can be thirsty and that will resolve that for you. And that's really all you're fixing. It's just the thirstiness of these woods. But you could use the Frederick's round canvas I have in the link, and Frederick's has an economy pack and then they have a nicer high-end stretch pack. So whatever your personal art style is, there is that for you. If you're wondering about framing, check out that Victorian Frame Company. Oh my gosh. How you doing today, babe?
Pretty good.
Are you ready to jump into this?
I think so.
I am. My whole focus today. Oh, Paulineri says, hi, Cinnamon and John. Hi, everybody. It's Saturday. Oh, look at the angles. Now, on my surface, I have my usual release of wishes, and I'll start over. So, as we have been wishing a lot lately, peace and health for all, everyone across the world. I just want peace, health, and safety for everyone across the world. An effective plan, I don't know what that is, but an effective plan to help address the issues around climate change, right? So that everybody's safe and everybody is okay. And on that note, safety and aid for those that have been affected by massive tropical storms, hurricanes, wherever you live in the world. Right now, one has hit, my country, but let's be honest, these things go all over the ocean and they do damage all over the world. So wherever you are, if you're coastal and you have been impacted by this, I wish you safety and help when you need it for you and your family. And then, of course, relief for those who have been through these California fires, really extra support for those working in the national forest and for the wildlife, but also for the families who have gone through this and have lost property and homes. And then, of course, and we'll talk about it during the show, I'm personally wishing for success on our new video series that is coming out, our 3-minute vids. I'm so excited about the 3-minute vids. So I'm wishing for success for those. And now I'm ready to paint my canvas. Now, this is watercolor pencil. So what I'm going to first do is take my background brush, which is a number 26 Ruby Satin, and I'll just go ahead and brush these words out a little bit. It's just because I don't want them to show through. Their good positive energy is out in the universe now, so we'll just let their pigment flow on. Kind of a nice feeling. I like to do the wishes. They make me feel better. All right, so we have that.
I found my color correction screens.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to load up my brush first with some white because the background is really quite light. So I'm really loading this brush up. Then I'm going to get a smidge of purple, right? A little bit, and then a smidge of blue. This is how we're going to get that kind of background color that you see here. You could do maybe just ultramarine, but I really felt it was just a little more biased to the purple. So let's see if we can get a light enough background going. And we're going to paint the whole surface like an acrylic ground, that light purple blue color. The entire materials list is in the description below, along with links that are helpful to the website, to the traceable, because I don't expect you to draw to paint with me. I am going to freehand today's dragon, but if you wouldn't be comfortable with that, I would highly suggest using the traceable. And I even have a video on how to do that. That's only 10 minutes long. I wish it was 3 minutes long, guys, but it's 10 minutes long. I'm very excited about that. When you see the new videos dropping, I hope you guys will come and support them and definitely try the program. We're starting it because we know a lot of you are short on time and you don't always have an hour to give to an art thought or project. And the other short stuff out there really isn't a tutorial, is it? So we were like, what could we do to help people? And this was our answer. And I think it's gonna be something special. We're gonna be starting out on fans because we've already had that big fan video. You guys are all prepped on that. I'm gonna make sure that you guys know how to do all the things that we talked about in our fan brushes, but in 3 minutes. So you could do that right before work, just adding more of this light background, or you could do that, you know, just whenever you have a free moment. And the project themselves shouldn't even take you in real painting time more than, you know, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, unless you get really into it, which then that's you directing your own time. All right. Oh, I see a fun one. Lindsay Maris says, Cinnamon, I showed my mom one of your videos and she loves your hair. Well, say hi to your mom for me, and thank you for sharing the video. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate everyone coming and watching and participating. And hopefully now we all have, whether it is on our square canvas or on a round canvas, a light purple background. That's pretty good, isn't it? Let's rinse out our brush, make sure we get most of the paint out of it. And what are we going to do right after the show to protect our brushes? We're going to wash them thoroughly with soap and water. Now you can do a crash solids thing to reclaim the water, or you can just wash them regularly, but be sure you wash them because that'll help them last a really long time. This needs to dry.
That's it.
Should I hair dry it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, Krista Haley says, question, why gesso versus white paint? Gesso's cheaper, and it has a little bit of tooth to it. It has a little grit in it, whereas the white paint has no grit. Gesso has grit. In fact, you can, if you get a Holbein, which is the most amazing gesso, it comes in 3 grit options and 35 colors. So they probably have this color that you could have just gessoed out in 2 seconds. However, that said, you could do white paint if you didn't have gesso. I don't want you guys to have to run out and buy something. Let me sip my coffee. You know, especially with the world being what it is, it's just so much more complicated to go shopping. So I just thought, I'll give you some options. That way you can stay home and use what you have.
Okay. So, don't forget to not use heat, of course. No, we've talked about that before. But if you're new to the channel, don't use your hairdryer on the heat settings. And the reason for that is that it can affect the paint itself. It can cause it to get a little sticky, and what do you call it? It will grip the paint that you're trying to put down in an uneven way, so that as you're trying to paint over that hot paint, because it's got more stickiness to it, it will grip the paint that you're putting down in an unexpected kind of way. It can also cause your paint to lift in an unexpected way, because it will cure quickly on the surface, but not all the way thoroughly through, so sometimes it'll cause it to lift up. So it's just best to not use heat when drying your surface. Yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys for coming to join us. As you know, it's always, oh, there she is.
In a canvas, so it takes a little longer to dry.
Oh. What do you mean?
Is the video supposed to be super bright, or it's just my screen?
Super bright?
It does seem bright.
It seem bright?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me do it.
It does. I mean, I have that weird video screen, but it does seem bright.
Well, so I was worried that it was bright enough earlier on.
It's really hard to balance out between the video being dark and the video being too bright, because you want everybody to see everything, but you also want to be able to see that this is purple here. And I've like, there you go. Now you can see that it's purple. So there you go. And now you can see that this is purple. So that's helpful. Let's talk about
I had
how
one bright stop. One brightness stop too much.
One brightness stopped too much. We were just too bright for you, too bright. It just sparkled so much. And it just went, we cannot stream your glorious brightness. And so, you know, that happened. That's that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to take my chalk tool. This is that Dritz chalk tool. It's not very bright, but I can see it. And I'm going to mark the space that is my ground where my dragon is nesting versus my forest where stuff is happening in the background. And I'm going to put out some more colors now. I'm going to put out my phthalo blue. This is a very harmonious painting. So we'll be doing a lot of harmonies. And the only weird color that might come into play only to lighten or darken will be green and yellow. Those will be like to get some of the blues more into turquoise. For the brightest butterflies, I may get my luminous opera involved. Those of you that have bought a tube of this, haha, it's a great time to pull it out. But it will be for the bright butterflies. The brightest of the bright butterflies. Let's put out a little green just in case we have to turquoise something. You know how that is. All right. We've got some good Diox purple out. Let's put out a little cad yellow. A little yellow, again, is another great way to brighten a blue where necessary. So we're not using any direct yellow, but we might use it in a mix to, Eric, Is for Frieden, is it better to get references from other paintings? So if you reference another painting, you'll need permission from the artist, or you'll need to license that image. That means pay the money. If you want references, I do think you should work from references. I suggest photographic references and try places like Pixabay or Upsplash or Paint My Photo, because they make those available to artists and people to be creative with without worrying about copyright or licensing. But I do think it's a good idea, for sure. Now I'm going to get some of my quinacridone in here. I find it. This is quinacridone magenta. I love that color so much. And if I need it, I'm going to put out some crimson. Now, this is quinacridone fuchsia, but it's really essentially, oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Same color. Same. I meant to put out the alizarin color of it. Let's try this again. This is the deep kind of almost a blood red color. There we go. So that'll give us some of those deeper ranges that maybe our pigment won't get us into. We'll see how it is when we go. Let's get out our soft brush. This is an ultimate varnish. This is by Silver Brush. It's a 1 inch. I don't use it for varnish. If you can't find this one, there is the 1 inch Princeton brush from like Michael's and stuff. These are sold a lot of places. I really prefer this one, but you use what you can find. Use what you can find, my friends. Use what you can find. I'm going to go ahead and get it just a little bit damp. And again, load up a bit into the white. And brush that through. Load. We want it super white. And let's come above here. The purple, even if it peeks through, will be very harmonious in our forest. Not to mention, you know, as the white paint is there, that purple also peeking through will make it seem not thin or streaky. It's a nice thing that you can do to keep your painting looking super good. We're just going to create a soft layer of this. You can make it a little darker as you go up. Get a little more of that in there. More blue than purple. More blue than purple. So first I'll find that like range, and then I will wipe this off and then get back into my white so that the range is light enough in value. So we'll brush here. There we go. It's kind of nice. And if I need to get better positioning, because I don't want to stretch out my arms or damage my back, one of the nice things about the Lazy Susan, what are we saying? The Ingenious Susan?
It is the turntable. It's a wooden turntable.
Wooden turntable. We're going to call this a wooden turntable because you know what? I have no problems with Susan. She's a nice lady.
We're not calling Susan out on the mat here.
We're just not. We like Susan. We respect Susan. We just don't want to throw no shade at Susan.
So it will be called a wooden turntable.
Wooden turntable. Will a dense number 12 fan brush give me more strokes and cause less finger effect? A firm fan brush of any type will give you less of the finger effect. The Art Sherpa fan is pretty good. The Cambridge fan, Catalyst by Princeton, does a pretty good one, but it's really about the firmness of the filament, and I would definitely, if you're having real problems with that, lean to a synthetic that's super firm, like the Art Sherpa, the Catalyst. Oh my goodness, Jessica, thank you so much. She says, thank you so much for your free art lessons. We're the best. Be sure and stay to the end because we have a special thank you for everybody who does the super chat. Not a nice little blendy area? Mm-hmm. I kind of enjoyed that. Maybe more than I needed to, but what are you going to do? Sometimes you just enjoy what's there, right? Now, making things easy for myself because the bottom is quite dark, I'm going to take some of my purple down to my phthalo blue, and I'll go ahead and begin to put in the dark base for where Mr. Dragon or Mrs. Dragon is nesting. I don't know the dragon well enough to tell you any of the specifics. We don't know each other like that. But this is a nice basis, and this will give us a great deep value. We can get black into it later, but right now I just want to kind of build up those basic layers. That's the first part of the work. And look, these brush strokes are like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Why are we doing that? Because what's wonderful about doing it that way is it gives that feeling of randomness that you might find on the forest floor. Yeah, Alyssa's like, remember Alyssa's talking about, like, she uses a number 8 and she can't imagine a number 12 because that would be huge. Depends on the company. Depends on the length of the handle because there's no universal sizing. So I could arbitrarily say to you, get a number 8 fan, but in some companies that could be ginormous.
You may as well be getting a number 88 fan.
Yeah. Yeah. But brush company and quality will matter in this particular case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really tough. You got to have a firm filament fan brush. Otherwise, it'll give you the finger when you try to pick up paint.
Can I use that in 3 minute videos?
Sure.
Don't let your brush give you the finger. I can't let that one go. Oh, we had
What?
I'm just breathing because I realized I was like amped up, and I'm like, it's Saturday. I gotta relax. I gotta calm down. I gotta be chill.
I didn't know if like
no, I'm fine. Everything is fine. I'm just like being chill. So
okay. This is the anti-trigger motion.
I'm gonna do my number 8 cat's tongue here. Now you could use a filbert. You could use a bright or flat. I just want a brush that's gonna give me a nice edge that I can paint my trees with. All right, so can I list the places for references? Paint my photo.
Well, yeah, we'll get those and we'll capture the links. Maybe
oh, okay, we'll capture the links and Upsplash and Pixabay. Mm-hmm. I can't help myself. It's just.
Oh no, I don't mind. It's just
I just have to do it. I'm so sorry. It just has to.
Well, it's one of the nice things is you can totally rewind and listen to that part multiple times.
That's true. That's true.
But
that's true. I'm going to paint some distant trees, I think.
Paint some distant trees.
We're going to come here and we're going to say, oh my goodness, in the distance there's some little trees.
Oh, let me give you a better angle. Shh. Let me fix that. You need this too.
These are very far away trees, guys. These are not up close to us in any way. And so we don't want them to be dark. You know, be aware that when you paint digitally, the digital brushes don't look on many of the programs quite the same as real brushes. Now on, what is it? Not Pixelmulator, but Procreate, they can look exactly like real artist brushes, but like on SketchUp and stuff like that, Sketchbook, and not as much. We're going to make some distant trees because when trees are in the distant mist, right? What do? They blend in. in the mist. That's what they do. I'm on the edge of my brush. I make sure that these lines that are coming up vertically, trees are kind of random. I just want to make sure that they are narrower at the top, like they taper down as they exit the canvas or as the tree grows up, versus where they're closest to the ground. And you might see a thicker base because trees have to hold themselves up, my friend. That's what they're doing.
I'm going to see if I can shrink down the palette a little bit because I don't think we need it that big today.
I don't know. I mean, whatever they want, because we got a lot of compliments on the big palette.
Okay. Well, I don't mind.
You guys let John know. Big palette, shrinked down palette.
I can shrink the palette down a little bit. I can keep it big. I just don't.
Just making little tree things. Now, I'm going to rinse this out and I'm going to do a couple things. Same value, same color. I'm going to get this awesomeness involved. I'm going to take this and see how it can get very like flurfy. If I flurf it out, I want this. I'm going to come into my little blue purple area here in my white, and I'm going to get that slightly darker. And I'm going to make sure that I've got a bit of a distant leaf happening, right? Because we want a distant leaf happening. These are distant. These are not up close. In the distance, the leaves, they fade away into the forest. So just making one value. That's how you get that misty effect. One value darker initially, right? And then I think that get that going there. That's kind of fun. Another little kind of thing that we're going to do, I'm going to rinse this out and I wipe off on a towel. And I'm going to get just a little bit of my glue involved. See how that's just, that feels all of a sudden very different and brighter. Mm-hmm. And we're going to just come in and dip in water and mist up a little mist. Mist up a little mist, my friends. See, I'm misting it up. If you're having any trouble getting your mist to mist, we can get some glazing medium involved and it will get it in hand. I'm going to add more white here.
Glazing medium is paint control.
It is. I'm going to just curve those because I like the feeling of energy, like wind has caught some of the magic mist and it's going. So we've got a little bit of mist now. I'm going to see that on the overhead so they can take in where we're at.
Let's see here.
There we go. So here you are. So where you're at. Very distant, far off events are happening. But this is about building up layers, layers, layers. For the swirls, and I do like the swirls, I'm going to take a little of my ultramarine blue and my phthalo blue, and I'm going to add mystic swirls.
Oh, mystic swirl.
Mystic swirls, sir.
I see.
These swirls are so mystic. They're the most mystic. We don't know why the swirls have come this way, but they are here. And so we should totally, totally recognize their presence. All right. If I'm having trouble getting the paint to flow off my brush, I just add more water. I'll just come back over what I painted. It's just fun to put them, here and there. Maybe some distant little ones into the forest. Just little bits of that energy, right? So that's what we've got going on here. Back with some white. Kind of shading that out. Shade that little circle out. And do some mystical painting. Question: can you use Ultimate Varnish Brush to paint and wash and then use to varnish? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can. However, you will come to love it so much as a blender, you will not want to risk it in varnish, but you can absolutely double it up. It's really about getting your brush super, super clean after every varnish session. Varnish sesh.
Say that 3 times fast.
I don't know. I'm struggling with saying those things 3 times fast. Let's put in some more trees, my friends.
How many sessions would a Sherpa have? A Sherpa could have sessions?
I don't know. Too many sessions. Let's get some darker blue trees involved in this forest. So these ones could be coming up over here. Making a little bit of personality in that trunk sometimes is enjoyable. Giving it some crookedy moments. Trunks can be very crookedy, my friend. It can be wild and unruly. As the Dixie Chicks used to say.
This is where I was thinking I could shrink the palette up a little bit. We don't necessarily have quite as much of the palette, so we could probably.
I'm all good. You're all good. Whatever we need to do.
Just give it a little bit less palette up here. So I don't think we need quite as much of it. See? Then we can show more of what you got. If you need more palette, like you need more cowbell,
yeah,
I can give you more palette. Just know.
That it's not written in stone.
We are not palette immovable.
Intractable.
Intractable.
We don't have an intractable relationship to our palette. I'm adding darker colors here as I'm going. I'm going to add more foliage and different things. So it's really for me just about layering this stuff and creating kind of a sense of things coming forward and being in the mist, dragons in the mist and such. Dragons in the mist. Gnomes in the mist. Linda Sue says she loves monochromatic paintings, and Laura White says more cowbell. Oh, if it wouldn't get its content ID'd, but they have really protected their cowbell.
You know what I've also noticed? Our audience sometimes has a hard time hearing with music in the background.
Yeah.
So we've just we thought about doing more music-based episodes. We have.
We like that we're just about painting and music and chillaxing to the music.
Everybody's always like, how do you do that, Sherpa?
And then I got to answer those questions.
So she ends up teaching, and it's not that it's not chill and relax, but music doesn't lend itself to hearing what she has to say. So it's not been, all of our chill out sessions end up being laid back teaching sessions.
Like you do.
And that's totally fun, just not what you would expect when designing it.
I'm going to add some more mist.
That looks like grassy mist.
A little bit of mist. A little bit of distant forest. Something is afoot, sir. Sometimes stuff has to be afoot. And we're making it afoot.
Yeah, see, Jaden, right? Jaden, we totally hear you.
What does Jaden say?
She says, no music, please. I have a hard time hearing through the multiple sounds.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon.
Yeah, totally understand.
So I'm taking a little of my purple and my phthalo blue again. And we're going to come here and just...
You shaped it.
I did. Look at the shape I made. I squish them. I'm like, dude, be hot messy. I have done entire paintings with this brush where I just come here, make a little edge. You're good, right? And the brush is like, I guess if that's what you really want. And I'm like, it is what I want. Give me what I want, what I really, really want. And the brush says, okay. If you insist.
If I'm hard to hear today, I'll check my mic. Sorry about that. I can adjust it up.
So we're layering in darker colors. We're bringing in things forward, right? These are fun things that we can do. We have terrific shapes in the distance. We're going to get a little bit of our, maybe more of our phthalo blue. Let's get more phthalo and a bit of our white involved. And maybe a little of our green or yellow, right? Because we're trying to get some turquoise going here. A little turquoise. And this is going to feel real different.
Oh, you're over there on the edge.
Brush that down into that space. A little white to lighten the value.
Every once in a while, you hear my keyboard.
And I'm just like letting the motion of this layer this magical space. Because it's magical. Tahiti, it's a magical place.
I would not know. Everything that did.
Some people got it. Some people got it. Big palette, says Mary Smith, is much better for her. So it's interesting, right? Like as we're going here, let's go here. And look overhead at what we've got so far.
Oh, okay, so let's see. I was over reading chat, and now my mouse is.
Now your mouse is crazy.
It's over there, so I can.
So I'm going to pull out some fluid white paint, and I'm going to put it on the palette. And I'm going to do that because I want some stronger white stuff happening. And I'm going to get my number 4 round, and I'm going to define these swirls a little bit more with this fluid white. Now, if you don't have the golden titanium fluid white, you can get craft paint and it will give you a similar, not as much pigment, right? But it will give you as much flow. And I just want to make sure that these have kind of like this little extra light circle. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some weird little distant marks. I guess I can put these around the dragon later, but I just want to make sure that I've got these like, oh, these are like little flecks of something. Little textures that could be a foot. Maybe put a little over here too. You know, we've got butterflies coming, but I just want to make sure that we've got some of that stuff happening. I'm inclined to want to dry so that I can start to freehand him in. And to freehand him in, I'm going to need to have it be dry, but I want to answer this before I go to drying. How do you get over the fear of just painting things you see and not following a tutorial? Well, what I would say is ask yourself, why is there fear? Right? Because that's really what's happening is like painting a tutorial or painting from life. They have very low danger, actual danger, right? But people feel real intense, profound fear around their art experience. And so what I kind of suggest to people is really look at what is that fear? Is it fear of failure, fear of not living up to your own expectations? Are you running a really strong negative internal dialogue? Are you being hypercritical of your mistakes? Like there's some other things going on there because really if you paint without a tutorial, the worst that could happen is the painting doesn't work out as much as you would like. That's only a big deal if those other things start to come into component. Maybe you have a really critical external person in your life that you're afraid of, but really go down and just like, whenever you find yourself truly afraid to do something in art, if it's not dangerous, like painting with gunpowder, you should have fear when you paint with gunpowder. For sure. We tried it. Fear.
That's not easy.
It's not easy and you should be afraid. But if you're not painting with fire and you're not painting in the sky and you're not doing something that's physically dangerous, my big advice is to say, take a minute, listen to yourself, write down all the thoughts that you're having that are making you feel afraid, and take a second to reevaluate. Oh, thank you, Manon. That is really appreciated. And we really Like, thank you. Please stay after the show. We have a fun little, like, thank you for our super chat. And I'm really glad that you're loving the lessons. So that's my 2 cents, guys, is evaluate that fear. Can't find the Facebook file, which Cinnamon had mentioned, saying she has shade names and quality of acrylic from different brands. How can I locate that file? On the new Facebook that they just made us all go to? I don't know. Why did Facebook do this in the middle of pandemic? Could they have waited for that update a minute? Well, I mean, seriously, I have had enough change and enough problems.
It was probably brilliant that they did it then.
So aggravating.
Because, like, no one's going to... where else were you going to go?
I'm so mad at this update. So I'm going to guess that it's somewhere at the top of your like if you're in group, look at the top of your phone, find files, open it up, and it opens it as a story. I don't know why. And it's acrylic. There's the color list and acrylic makers' names and brands. But I need to make some blogs about it so you guys can find it easier. Maybe I'll put one in the community tab. How about I put that file in the community tab today? And then you can find it here on YouTube easily as well.
So, yep. Gosh, if you guys are not a member of our Facebook group, you should go over and join that. We've got a lot of good information that's sending posts up there. If you're not on our website, you should check that out. TheArtSherpa.com. We've got a lot of really cool resources there. We're updating some new cool stuff on the website here. So that's pretty neat. The store is getting an update on our website. So very soon we're going to be offering a whole new assortment of stuff for you. If you just can't get enough of Sherpa stuff, then hopefully it'll be available there.
It'll be available somewhere.
On our store, in the Sherpa store. That's what we're working on it.
I'll put out black paint. See how that goes. And if it bothers me, I'll put out fluid black paint. So I'm going to put out some Mars black.
Some Mars?
Mm-hmm. And put it right here. I think it's an okay place for it. Oh, thank you, Alyssa Otter. And thank you, only one Terry Lynn Fink. Only one Terry Lynn Fink. There's only one Terry Lynn Fink. Only one. I mean, I want to go on Facebook now and test that theory out, though. Because maybe you're the one and only. Because I'm pretty sure somebody, probably not even a real person, has named themselves Terry Lynn Fink. When I started going through the troll impersonation stuff, I have to tell you, there were every combination of Art Sherpa out there, and some of them were genuine businesses or things that were happening. Some of them were people from Nepal who were artists.
You know what?
And I'm genuinely going to let them do their thing, right? Like, I'm not going to roll up on that, but there were definitely some people that had fake accounts.
See, when we started all this, there were no other Art Sherpas.
No, it's true.
We did a
not
lot
anywhere.
of search.
We did.
Nowhere. Because we
looked. They did not exist.
And we registered the trademark, so it's like at some point if we have to go.
Yeah, I mean, like on some stuff, I just let it go because it's fine.
Yeah.
Like if you're from Nepal,
no, that's not what I was.
Like,
that's not what
I'm
bugged
gonna
me.
let that go.
Yeah, that's not what's bugging me. It's
Karen Gillespie, thank you so much. Now I'm getting my black paint out. Am I funny?
No, I'm
waxing, like thinking, and I'm going to go ahead and give myself just a little bit of a chalk sketch because I'm seeing this, and I need the overhead, babe, to see what I'm doing because this isn't on an angle. The view that you have is super duper important, my friends. So you've got to have the angles that let you view your art. Now, on a dragon, I can pretty much get away with anything as long as I have those first few shapes, especially if they're a nesting dragon. Dragons, like horses, are a jam I'm pretty comfortable with. So first, I'm going to do the face. The face is going to be like kind of chill for me.
Seen a lot of dragons, have you?
I have seen a lot of dragons.
You got that familiarity.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you so much. Remember, guys, to stay till after the show for like our big little Kevin visit. We visit with Kevin and thank everyone who contributes. I'm going to make a tiny little delicate bit of a nose here. Yeah, so you can kind of see how I taper that in. There's a lot in common with the seahorse here. We're going to bring this up. I find with black, it's easier to add than subtract. So you'll see me really come into this slowly. Thank you, Stephanie Willis. I'm going to come into this slowly. I'm on the tip of my brush, and I'll have John put us back at the 3/4 angle. I just needed to see that arc go in because I have to use the overhead to make sure that I haven't gotten way off scale. Because when you paint flat like this, it's really easy to get out of focus, off scale, or out of perspective. That's why I recommend the table for people that tips up and then has a flat side, right? So you want a table, if you're sitting at a table like I am, I don't have that because of our filming situation, but you would want one that tips up. DD, can you add the reference? Yes, but we don't really have a photograph. This wasn't a moment in the wild, but we do have the reference, and John, he went to go heat my coffee, but when he comes back, I'll ask him to throw in the reference. Oh, and then no cinnamon, sweetie. Believe me, there's only one me, says the only one Terry Lynn Fink. I love that. I love that. I want everyone to feel like that. In my perfect world, everybody would feel like the one and only and would celebrate who they are and what they love. Unless they love something hateful, and then, no, I would want them to get help and find something to love that wasn't hateful. But other than hatefulness, I want everyone to have what they love. And you guys probably understand what I mean. I'm going to just tip this up a bit. Now, what's wonderful is up here, I can take these little kind of little forks out. These wonderful little bits of dragon horn, see? And we like let them be a little bit feathery because, you know, it's almost like, maybe it's almost a bit like mane or whatnot, but you do want to have it generally going out like that. Question, can you use zinc white on my metallic color? Silver acrylic will give it a light transparency, or should I use medium transparency? Sherpa is my real surname. Hello from India. That is awesome, Nikki Sherpa. We're like sisters. You'll find that silver acrylic will dull the colors of your painting. So if you're looking to neutralize or dull them, because they really are kind of a gray blue, I would use zinc white if you want the hue, the color to stay inherently the same, but just the value to lighten. And then glitter after. I'm going to bring some of these here that we have, right? Just kind of bring this little neck down. Sometimes I need to get more paint loaded in my brush so that I can bring the neck down. There we go. That's a nice curve. Curving strokes can be challenging. Be it a horse's neck or a dragon's neck, that can be a bit of a challenge. I think I made her sit up a little bit more. That's okay. She doesn't mind. Huh? They want the reference back. Mm-hmm. I know, but they just asked, and I was like, okay. That should be okay. I can I can move my there you go. I don't have anything going on up there. So if you want to see where I'm going, you can. I'm going to go ahead and bring these out. I won't get the blue involved till all the black is in. Thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate that so much. And also, I like coffee. And you just got me a cup of coffee.
Is that coffee?
Yes, that coffee was perfect. Okay. I see Adrian Voss. I'm late on an early morning, but I will have to go to bed. I've been painting for 4 hours. Love y'all heapers. Annette, Queensland, Australia. Thank you, Australia. That's Oz, right? Is that correct? I was like learning that today. So I am being a little more careful with these strokes, you'll notice, than maybe I usually am, and that's just because the form and everything is going to matter to me in a minute. I find if I move slowly, everything finds its space. Now, we have a lot of dragon behind some bushes and stuff. That said, I want a robust enough body to be able to really see her. Now, I'm not necessarily going to do the whole body, or at least for sure not the tail yet, because there's a lot of little side bushes here I've got to get in. And it's really about finding that layer. So I'll put in her little side body, and I'm going to put the stars, the kind of galactic effect in there. But wait just a second while I get this. So I've got to, not the wings. I just kind of know where I'm going to want that curve. So I will paint all this in just so I have the density. You can get into the blue, the phthalo blue if you want, into that black for this part, because this is where we're going to get some galactic, intergalactic dragon energy going. So don't worry about the way that this is flowing in. Trust me, this gives us a good architecture for our wings and other things that are going on. Oh, Nikki says definitely post it. I'll do that after the show. I'll go grab it and put it up in the community tab. I think you'll like it. You'll like it. Annette M. Voss says, I've been painting dragons in the paintings I'm doing. I love that fantasy art, which I've loved my whole life, is kind of coming back and doing a thing now, because I'm super fond of fantasy art, and I'm really glad to see it being appreciated. I'm going to get some clean water in here. Now, to the side here, and I'm going to paint around the tail, and I just know where it is. I'm going to get some of my blue and some of my ultramarine blue. So it's my phthalo and my ultramarine, and I'm going to make some little taps. These are like little bushes. Might be piling like to the side here. And it's an up-down motion. You could do this with a round too. It's just an up-down motion. Just make sure that that's there, right? Because that's what's going to be showing. A little bit. There we go. And you can always, sometimes it's nice to get delicate and playful with your little bushes and pay a little extra attention to them, because I'm going to take them along the back. I don't know how much the wing's going to cover yet, but I know that it will cover. So I've got to be aware of that. Bring some more of this dark color down, making a little cross hatching. All right. Now, in the center here, I'm going to take a little of my blue and my ultramarine again. We'll start this, and we'll say coming really in this space, there's this sort of like light path. So I'm going to go make these little crisscross strokes. Initially, we have lots of layers to do here before I even put the tail in, but I want to make sure that I've got this basis in, because this is sort of how maybe the dragon gets to her nest. And we want to make sure that we put in those spaces and a little more white to create some variance in the path. That's working out well, isn't it? You gotta love it. So it's really to get the tail here. I can do these bushes last, but to get the tail here, I've got to do a lot of this work first. I cannot blend background with a mop brush to save my life, says Alyssa Otter. I think that's a suggestion for a future 3-minute video. Do you? How to blend with the mop brush.
I can see you doing that.
And if you're using a goat hair one, I would say that's the issue. If you're using a synthetic one, there could be a couple other issues. Goat hair is not your friend. If you're an oil artist, it's totally your friend. And if you're a watercolorist, it can be your friend, but it can be a hindrance to you if you are doing acrylic. That's just the sad and honest truth. I'd make it different for you if I could, but I can't, so it is. Okay, random question. Any good nerdy names for a new girl corgi? Brenda F wants to know if you guys know any good nerdy names for a brand new corgi. Throw them out in the chat. I'm putting out ultramarine again and my phthalo blue. All right. So let's come in through here and add a little bit to some of our bushness that we've got going on. Build up some spaces and everything. A little bit more of this. I'm going to add, I guess I can get into this one. Any of your whites is okay over here. You just want something dark enough to show that you're paying. You've got these things happening. And again, I'm just using the edge of this. And I do this so that I can take my different brushes. And sometimes it helps me get a little bit of a different texture going. Get a little more of my blue into it. I've gone dark again. I'm changing up the variance of the bush here, lights and darks. And I'll pull that down. And then we've got a little bit of this that will come into the ground here. And again, I'll put the tail back in a second. I'm just creating this space for the ground that's pulling down into the path. I want a dragon tattoo. If you don't have transparent white, what can you use instead? You can just add your titanium white to glazing medium. You can get zinc white. You can get mixing white. You can thin your white till it's not as opaque and then let it settle for a week. Because that they've now found out that you can prevent underbinding if you allow it to cure a really long time. So those are the things that you can do. And I think are wonderful. I'm grabbing some purple. I do want it to read as purple, so I'm going to add a little bit of white because I don't want it to read as black. To some of this. On the round, I'm going to kind of curve it around because I think that'll be nice. That'll be nicer. And then I'm going to get my number round Princeton brush, which I think will be fun. Let's put our cat's tongue to the side. This is a number round blender number 12 Princeton brush. The other thing that you might be able to use, you would just use it as a dry brush, is the Art Sherpa cloud brush. But you would just want a domed brush. This one's a little softer. I'm going to take a little bit of my magenta and my dogs together. And I'm going to start to kind of create this little bush here. As you can see, it's a little more purpley. It fits into our world for sure. And let's put out our zinc white. This is the transparent white she's talking about. The reason that you have titanium white and zinc white is zinc white will lighten a color without changing the hue. You can see that's just a little bit different than the titanium white that we have. And I'm just bringing these little bits down. Little bit, bit. Get a little bit of my alizarin, right? See, that's a very deep red. A fun color. And we're just building those little spaces down. You can get your titanium white. I'm not titanium white, your phthalo blue and a little of your zinc white. And if you want to smidge of your yellow to kind of take it into that green, blue range, hard range to get, but we'll get there. Some light of that. So just puff those out there. See how we're puffing those? Mm-hmm. Another thing you can do is you can just touch your brush. And I can always come through here, adding some of these fun colors. Look at that being added. Because you want to add some fun to the path. Add some fun to your forest path. Under here with some of this. Maybe even some lighter versions of it. And you can see how much titanium white changes things. You get into my ultramarine. My purple again. But I haven't rinsed my brush. Just creating little bits of path, right? Because it's got a little path, doesn't it? Now maybe a little bit of my phthalo blue and dark purple, creating these little moments of dark value. They're important. They are important. You're just trying to create ground. I can now see you on my flat screen. So much easier to see painting now. I should be able to do traceables off the TV, says Darcy. That is very clever, and that is a thing that you can do. There's like some crazy new stuff out there. Like, I've been seeing a bunch of companies come up on Instagram that have just dived into everything from the Renaissance, on how all the Renaissance masters used to get stuff projected. Mm-hmm. And presenting it as new tech, and I'm like, that's just a camera obscure in a tube, right? Because it's a camera obscure in a tube. And then I'm like, I should show everyone how to make a camera obscure in a tube. It isn't that hard.
The internet is a series of tubes.
For some people, it is. I'm going to go ahead and get my green and blue together. I didn't want it that wet. Little blue, little green. I'm making a turquoise, and I'm going to come in here and try to add some lighter values into this. And then where necessary, I'm going to get my titanium white involved. Maybe make some little... These kind of, when you push up like this, it looks a little bit like grasses, doesn't it? Just playing with the colors, you just go through and you'll be like, no, 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 purple, 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 purple. The thing about harmonies is when you work with them, you'll find you get less dull colors. Okay. Now we have this wonderful basis for a dragon. We've got some great thoughtful little bits of plants and things happening over here in the dark, being little dark happy plants. Happy plants. They'll definitely house some butterflies and some things, won't they? Annette's got to go because she's falling asleep. And then Darcy's like, windows make great light boxes, and I need to sip some coffee.
Coffee. Yeah. There's been a lot of really good names for corgis out there.
Yeah? What was your favorite?
Well, I was suggesting In from Cowboy Bebop. But little corgi that ran around and...
Good one.
But, you know, as a dad, I would name a corgi Stretch or Bait. But...
First, calling a dog bait, go get me fresh water. You are punished. You are punished, sir. Punished.
Well, I mean, it's a corgi.
I know, but go get water, sir. Don't call dogs bait, even though I understand that might be actually true.
We need our dogs a candy bar.
Dorothy Raidmaker says, I love watching you on my flat screen, but no place for me to paint with you that way. Oh, that is like a thing, isn't it? How to watch and then paint with me. And I don't know how people paint with me on a teeny tiny screen. That seems super hard to me. While he's gone, I'm going to just add some more black to my dragon. Because I feel like we need more stuff happening up here in our little spiky crown. Needs to be more glorious, don't you guys think? More glory to the spiky crown. Bait. What are you going to do with that, right? Any of your husbands do that to you? Bait. Hello, Malik. How are you doing today? All right. Thank you so much for the water. You weren't really punished. I just needed help. Though I do think it's terrible to call the dog bait. I'm just saying. I'm going to get some blue. And I'm going to use my my zinc white because it's going to lighten it enough for it to show, but not so much that we can't keep the dragon in the black space, if you see what I mean. Just adding some blue into there, some blue cast to that. It increases galactic nature. He's a galactic nature, John. And then I'll take some of this blue right here, right up into the neck, and down what will be under the wing. You guys saw that?
Mm-hmm.
Don, the husband, thought the bait joke was hilarious, says Alice. Her husband's on your team.
Well, you know.
I always love hearing about people's partners.
Working dogs, they have a purpose.
Oh, you and, what was it? Steve Irwin. I was always super uncomfortable with that. I don't know anybody else, if anybody else was, but I always was. I was like, I don't know, Steve. I don't think we should call the dog bait. I think it's a little too true.
Well,
Gonna add a little bit of my ultramarine here.
what I would say is Steve had a lot more experience with prehistoric animals being very close to his face. And so
Than any of us?
And what I think is he realized where he was on the food pyramid, and when he was in the wild, he wanted something smaller and slower than him.
It's terrible.
I think that if you were to walk through the Australian outback, just a stroll in the afternoon, you'd be like, no, need a dog.
No, man, I watch animal channels. The only thing I want to see from the Australian outback are the budgies. Those look okay. They look friendly. The rest of it looks like it can eat me.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to put the eye in, and I want to kind of lay the basis for the glow. There's a bit of a glow around the eye. Easier to get in now than later. You can kind of see that glow happening. Can you guys catch that glow?
Yeah.
And I might go ahead and just kind of put in a little hint of a nostril right there. It's a hint. It's a hint. And then maybe just a little bit of this white, more opaque white. There we go. So we can really see the glow. There we go. So we've got the beginning of his like glow eye going. Glow eye is a good thing, right? I don't know. I feel so. Well, all that's having a dry, I'm going to turn this direction because I want to do some wings. And I'm going to just actually, interestingly enough, use the way my brush tends to want to kind of flick things on an edge and lean into that. Being very rough and very stable. Callie says she's in Western Oregon. We have a pack that traveled back and forth through the neighbor's field. The girl dog hates them. All right, here we go. I don't think she means like a pack of alligators, though. Though you could. I don't want to limit what you could mean. I'm going to start to pull the tail out here. Love doing dragon tails. They're like one of my favorite things. It's been a minute since I've done a dragon on the channel, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit.
We have a few dragon lessons if you enjoy dragon lessons and you think, well, this is fun. I'd like to do more of that. We got some of that. I'm dipping in water and I'm adding it to the paint and I'm incorporating it. That's what you see me doing here is incorporating the water to the paint and that is to help me get a better flow. To that paint. Much like tree limbs, you want the tail to be thickest near the body and then taper as it comes down. There we go. The trailing tail, which I may have to kind of clear up and delicately rearrange. There we go. Got a little trailing tail happening there. We'll have to highlight that tail and then put that shadow in, and then we'll put that star in, and then we're going to be doing good. I want to bring the wings back further. We can really see those, and so that the dragon feels just a little larger and more substantial. I'm going to come initially with some blue just to hold the space mentally. I got to come over with really dark colors, but we can start this with blue. And we'll use highlights to shade the tail and shape the tail. Like you do. I can even come down here into this part of the tail and make sure that that's a small tail. There we go. So see, we're building up here. We're building up. Now, on the top of the wings, we've got some stuff to do, but at this point, I should be able to come back and put in a little bit of an eye. Now we have a little bit of that eye. I like that. I am going to get my dotting tool out while all this is having a rest or dry or thought. If I can find my dotting tool, which I totally washed and have here somewhere. Right? Right? Totally did that. I remember doing that. I feel like I know I did that, and the dotting tool is what I want to use really badly.
I'm sure we can find it.
Did you ever do that where you put a tool in your tool case and then you're like, I don't know where that tool is anymore?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to use a pencil. I like my dotting tool. It's my favorite. But normally,
that involves my children taking it.
Yeah, he thinks it's his children. It's me. No, it's just kids. I don't want to get in trouble. It is his children. It's not me. I'm going to go ahead and add some little sparkles up here while the wing's having a dry. Sometimes in painting, what you do is you go, well, I'm here now, and I want to do this thing, but if I do it here, that'll be really cool because used the dotting yesterday, says Carol D. I did. I love my dotting tool. It makes the job a lot easier for me than trying to offload from the tip of the brush is what it is. That's looking pretty cool. Come back in and thin some black paint and make sure that we've got really cool dragony tippy stuff. You can always exaggerate. I mean, who knows how much we're exaggerating the dragon? I don't really know. But we can always exaggerate.
Mm-hmm.
So there we got some little sparkles there. Mama Moth says it's so soothing to dot, and I have to agree. I'm going to have to just dry the wing. It's just not drying very quickly, so I'm going to dry it.
And that won't take very long. You just got to go in there and make sure that can be dried so that you get the next layer. You know how that works. So thank you guys for joining us here. Having a good time hanging out with you guys. There she is.
There I am.
There you are.
What am I doing?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what I'm doing. Well, I guess that's where we are now.
I'm never knowing.
Sometimes I like to define a swirl. I may dot it. It's hard to say. Wing is dry. I'm going to come here. I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine and a smidge of my purple and some of my white. I'm going to create like a highlight here. I need a highlight. I'm going to just get any of the white that will lighten it. Brushing back is sort of like definition of the wings. All right, and come back in with some blue here on the edges. And then maybe even get the purple involved. You're like, oh man, you're bringing purple into it. Yeah, I think so. Let's bring some purple into this. And you want to give that a look.
Get some wings in there.
We need wings.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need wings. Ultramarine blue. Now I want to come back in and get my fluidy paint involved and quite light on the toe of my brush. Find those little ribs, right? Find those little support structures. So if the wing were to unfurl, it would have something to unfurl into.
Big wings.
Yeah.
Annette wants to know if you've ever painted Tiamat.
No, I have not. That's a thing I have not painted.
Tiamat is a 7-headed dragon.
Yeah, definitely not on the show. Can you imagine how long it would take?
Boy, that would be that's a project.
It would be a big project.
I guess it depends on if you did it in the cartoon stylings of Dungeons and Dragons.
It may.
That would lighten it up a little bit, but still be big project.
Big project. Very, very big. Get some pink into this. How does that look? Whoop, there it goes. Sometimes I get quiet and then I feel really weird. I talk all the time. All right, so we've got some nice little wings happening there. I want to fix that little boo-boo pink, which is pretty easy to do. Just blend it in. Let's start to shade the tail. So in the tail, I'm going to begin with some nice blue. Shading this, right? Maybe even get into my pure blue here. That's my ultramarine blue. And that's my ultramarine. And then you can get into the phthalo blue. Into the fluid paint with my phthalo blue. And I'm going to take this down. And let that help the tail. What we're really doing is we're rolling the tail. Actually, I got to go more dark there. Get into my black here and kind of, I'm going to switch sides where I add a highlight right about this space. And then we'll come on this side and let's get a little bit of our red, and you know, you can get your sink into it, but you just want to pick that up and then come on the inside here. Let's come here and say some red right here. That magenta. There we go. Now, once you have your highlight going, you're pretty good. You can start to darken in this part of the dragon now. Thank you, Jillian. I really appreciate that. I'm going to raise the bend of the tail a little bit, and I'm going to do that by taking my black back a little bit more. It's pretty easy to do. I just want to raise where it begins the curve. And you'll do that sometimes. Sometimes you'll be working and you're like, man, I want to raise where that starts to curve. Just raise where the highlight is. Now we've got lots of wonderful bushes and things that we can start to put on the other side of him that are super fun. So let's get maybe our little bit of our ultramarine and purple here just to create some distant little bushes. I'm just using my number 12 Princeton round blender. And start to put these back into what's happening here, right? Because there's this whole like series of bushes and things that, you know, are making this possible. Even more into like, oh, something like the deep purple. Right up into that. And then maybe this whole side over here is that much darker. Go back into the deep purple with the ultramarine. Just deepen, 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 deepen. Deepen, 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 deepen. Oh, thank you, Kristen. Thank you both for all you give to the community. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too, Kristen. I think it is a happy Saturday. I'm actually pretty thrilled with them. I'm going to put out some more zinc white. I put out some more, and pretty soon I'm going to pull my palette and clean it up. When I do the butterflies, I'll probably clean it up for my sparkles and my butterflies. Probably will. Probably will clean it up a bit. And I may clean up the wing a little bit. Let me, because again, sometimes when you're painting on the side like this, it just, you're like, oh, I gotta go somewhere. Like that better. What do you think, John?
I do like it.
Big enough to fly. All right, let's get back into our bushes. Our new bushes. Let's get some of our phthalo blue and our zinc white. They make a nice color. Start to kind of pull some of that up into there. Twixie. Twixie's like, how you doing?
Come over here to see me.
Mona says she's not been inside a store since March of this year. Don't blame you, Mona. Truly do not. There's a lot going on out there, isn't there? Sometimes it's nice to get a little of the magenta and docks together and make some nice little bush colors, right? Again, we're just painting little bits of different little plants. Just tapping up and down. The trick is you're wanting value. You want, different values for your plants. It's not just the different hues. Sometimes it's the different values that you want. Little magenta and a little, those two together. Let's come down here and let's put those pinks into it. Now we will absolutely, right? Get into some dark colors and star some things up. But we want to just kind of make this space interesting.
There's been mass requests for this one.
For what one?
This painting.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The one I'm doing right now?
Yep.
And that's very convenient. It's always very good. I'm taking the phthalo blue and I'm going to make some different little grass strokes and other plant textures. Whether you're painting a fantasy landscape or a realistic landscape, having different textures is important because it helps us realize, oh, this isn't just one thing or another.
I put up my trash panda mask.
You did?
Because it's my favorite.
Thank you, Julie Thomas. Just around here, let's just add some little bits of, we've got lots of butterflies and things coming. We just want some grasses, right? Say there's some plants here and it's okay. Things have grown. Little bits of texture, and all of a sudden it's just right there, isn't it? And that's wonderful too. So let's take our dotting tool as well, and I feel like we need some stars in the thing. I'm going to go ahead and I think what I'll do is I'll come over and I'll mix a little blue into the white. The other thing I can do is dot white and then when dry glaze blue. So we'll see what we like. If it'll dot well, we're gonna not dotting well. We'll glaze. The glazing is something you can do to also alter color and different elements of what you have going on. And while this is having a dry, I'm going to do something crazy. I know it seems I'm going to put out fresh paint because my paint is kind of getting gummy. And I want kind of clean space for the butterflies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do. Don't tell. Don't tell.
That's okay. You can use paint if you want to.
I can use paint if I want to. Some sparkles up. All right, we need some sparkles. Some definitive little fairy sparkles that are happening on our canvas. Also, we've got to put up some butterflies. I want both those things. Those first ones I've got out of that, and while those are all having a dry, I'm going to put out my white butterflies first.
Your white butterflies?
I'm going to put out my white butterflies. And I'll go ahead and use an Art Sherpa #1 detail, but that's just because I want a small detail.
Mm-hmm.
And the first ones I'm going to put up are here. I love to put up little butterfly, different little butterfly shapes that are different sizes that could be flying in my environment. Make sure some are big and some are small. The white ones are always fun because they have a tendency to be glowy. And come up here and put some. As you do.
Mm-hmm.
I like to give them different little shapes and positions in the forest. Because, you know, they do things. They fly around. They're busy, the butterflies. Butterflies are busy creatures.
Bzz, 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 bzz.
They got all that pollinating to do. They got all that flying to do. So I like to try to capture some of that energy of the butterfly. There's little butterflies, and there could be some maybe right here. They have different little shapes. I think that's the extent of my white butterflies. Don't you guys think that's the extent of my white butterflies? Now I'm going to take my phthalo blue, and I believe I will start with my zinc white, and I'm going to glow my glows. We'll see how it goes, glowing the glows. See how it goes. I'm going to get the zinc white, and just a smidge. You can see it doesn't take very much, does it?
No.
So you can kind of see how Friday night's class and Saturday night's class have techniques and elements that relate to each other. You know, we have a lot more going on Saturday, but in their heart, they're very, very similar. I just kind of dot around. The wonderful thing about the Lazy Susan is that I can, the
wooden turntable.
Wooden turntable. Things we're raised with.
The whirling dervish.
Yeah. Now let's take a little bit of the pure white there, and we brighten some of those glows, right? So that they look like glows as we're going. There's a thing I really feel the dragon needs, if you guys will bear with me.
Sure.
I think some of the stars in the dragon, besides needing to be knocked back with a glaze, I think some of them need to be sparkles.
Oh, yeah. Definitely needs some sparkles.
So I'm going to dry it, knock it back with a glaze, and then I'm going to pick a couple of them and turn them into twinkle stars.
Yeah.
So these will remain distinctly glows. Right? These are distinct glows. And then we're going to come in and make these some of these distinctly twinkle stars. So I'm going to dry this.
All right, you dry. There she goes. Dry that. Make it a little better. So, thank you guys for spending the day with us. It's been really nice hanging out here, having all our friends on a Saturday afternoon to do some dragon painting on the wooden turntable. You know, all that kind of fun stuff. So, thank you guys. Hanging out.
I'm also going to add something to glaze to the eye.
Add something?
Mm-hmm. When I come in glaze, that'll be awesome. Just got to get it there so it's dry for when it is.
Just a little, making sure that all the little dots and all the little stuff is nice and dry. That way you're not smearing anything when you're doing your next subsequent layers. But it's looking like she's really close to being finished here, so I'm excited to see this one in a frame, because we have some round frames somewhere that she got, which were pretty cool. So we'll check those out next. I wonder if she has it near her. I'll have to look around. We'll get the spot and see what we can do. Slightly more drying than I thought. There she goes.
Oh, Brenda F says, I've never tried a mop brush that's not goat hair, so I'm not sure of my success with it. Oh, yeah. I've got to do a whole video to explain why goat hair is the bane of acrylic artists. But basically what it is like your human hair, goat hair pulls in water to the actual hair shaft. And it's almost impossible to keep the goat brush at the dampness required. Every time I see an artist using it primarily for a blend, at some point in that blending process, I see a fade cut. Something about 30, 40 minutes worth of blending work that's very carefully faded out. It's a very subtle thing, but I noticed it. And I was like, you know what's going on? And I realized you can blend with them, but there's so much work and they make your paint foam.
Yeah, so
that's why I don't. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you've mastered it, that's also okay. I'm just saying
there's an easier way.
That the synthetics don't give you that same problem. I'm putting out my acrylic glazing liquid gloss by Golden. Now, in this particular case, because we're not trying to slow the blending time down, so we're just trying to glaze. You could use just anything that said glazing medium, but it will never. The glazing mediums don't blend or slow drying time. Only that one does. That one slows drying time and glazes. That's the only one. I don't have any feelings about that at all. All right, I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to get a little blue into it. And I'm going to get a little glaze on it. You can kind of see where we're going. See what that's doing? You might be able to get away with this with just the phthalo blue, because phthalo blue is so. There we go. Now that eye is glowing. Now it's so, and then maybe even a little bit deeper in the belly, just like the glaze, the twinkles are there, but they're just more in shadow. So now we've got the twinkles more in shadow under the belly. The eye glow is like pop, pop, pop. And now I can do my extra little twinkle. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. I will refine that dot, and then I'm going to just very carefully add a sparkle to a couple. Of the stars. Now, some of these can be bigger sparkles and some of them can be smaller sparkles. Right, but what we're trying to say is that she's got some sparkles. She's a little galactic.
Just getting into your sparkles.
I do. I get into my sparkles. Because I want that to feel like a star or something. I do. I'm going to put out some of this luminous opera pink. If you don't have this, you just use your quinacridone magenta. But I want these butterflies to be like, I'm a butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using my luminous opera. I'm taking my fluid white into my luminous opera, and it will lighten it. And we're going to come here and let's add a butterfly in front of the neck. Butterfly just flying. I'm very excited about this. I like this very much. Sometimes I'll grab some white and just add that detailing around there. Just creating little bits of glowing, happy butterflies. Glowing, happy. Just paint them in, enjoy them. You know, you love them, you like them, they're a good thing. Don't forget, sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. Sometimes close and far, because they do what? They fly around. They're butterflies. They flutter everywhere. They're not concerned about the dragon. Maybe they're magically protected. Maybe there's a dragon butterfly truce that we're not aware of in the world. I don't know, happily putting butterflies everywhere now because they're fun for me. I just feel like they belong all the places.
Yeah.
All the places that you could have one. Let's take a look overhead. Well, that's getting pretty butterflied. It has some butterfly elements to it, right?
Quite a few, I think.
Quite a few. I can always come back with a little white and pick, it up. Maybe add some dots to the wings. Like there's some sort of specific breed of pink butterfly. I don't know. And the last dotting thing I feel super compelled to do is this. There we go.
Very nice.
And I just feel really compelled to do that. Our dragon needs a name. Historically in the channel, you guys have named every dragon we have painted. So we'll let you name this one.
This one could be Coffee.
Does you need coffee?
Who doesn't need coffee?
Coffee the dragon?
Coffee the dragon.
Coffee the black dragon. Okay.
Just be lucky we mean coffee like Java. Not coffee like coughs.
Yeah, seriously. I'm going to also add some more
Nobody likes a dragon that coughs.
sparkles here. Thank you, Tracy Holden.
Everybody's burned.
This is for the Lake Como painting. I missed the live chat, but I did the painting and I loved it. Thank you both for your hard work, enthusiasm, and love. I wanted to stop in and show my appreciation. Thank you, Tracy. Hang in to the end. We're going to have a little visit with Kevin the Kraken and thank all of our patrons. And, of course, our community who comes and joins us for the live shows. I just don't feel like you can have enough dots.
I know.
It's just, and then I have to balance the dots because otherwise there's a dot imbalance. It'll make me crazy. And probably this one is going to get framed and put in the purple room. And I have a frame I can show you what it looks like framed in.
Yeah? I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I will put in the frame once it's all dry and take a picture of it and post it up in Facebook and then eventually in the community tab so you can see it, maybe Twitter, a couple of the places. You know, a few of the places that you might be into. I like that. How'd that work out? Are we happy?
I like it.
Do we need more butterfly?
I think it looks pretty good.
Are we pretty good?
Yeah. I think you're pretty good. I'd like to see it framed.
Like to see it framed? I can do it right here. It's like right
you gotta
here.
Sign it.
I gotta sign it though. So I will typically always pick a signature color that is somehow in the painting. I won't necessarily do one that hasn't been used in the painting just because it can pull the signature so out of the space and create it almost into its own zone, its own element. And I really don't want to undermine everything I did by signing it. Balmoral the Dragon. I like that. Contessa. Mariposa, it means butterfly, I think. Yes, it does mean it does mean like butterfly. All right, so you can get on Amazon. If you guys want to see, I actually have the frame here and I can show you how it would work. So you get these frames. Comes like this. I have no idea the condition, so you'll get to see the whole thing from beginning to end. What do you guys think of that?
Comes in non-economically friendly plastic wrap.
This has some other weird parts that John's going to have to explain to me because the other one didn't come with these. I'm
sure
a little
those
concerned.
are some sort of torture device.
I think these must be hanging tools, but I have not used them. I will find out and let y'all know. Because the last one had the thing in it. So then they're like this. Oh, good. It's not damaged. So this is the 12-inch, right? Let's get the possible potential paint staining out of the way. Right. And then we'll pop this off of its dots. The dots are super.
You need me to do that?
Oh my gosh. The dots are like, I own it.
The dots have bound.
The dots are like, it belongs to us. That's just how I make sure that no matter what's going on in the show that I don't lose my picture. So there we go. So this little plastic you can use it. It's got a little sheet on it, and I think you can pull the sheet off. I don't want anything touching my acrylic painting.
No.
So I don't use the plastic.
Remove that stuff.
This has the photo frame tabs, which is fantastic because it's easy to use. Oh, all right. So it has those things are hangers.
Yeah, I kind of figured they're.
The other one had the hanger built in. The one for the green world had the hanger built in. Pull that out.
Different versions. Go ahead.
Oh, there it is. It just wasn't showing. Hanger built in. I don't really need this one. It's not going to work for me.
We'll use it for something else.
Use it for something else. I'm going to take this in and pop it down into. Did I buy too big a wood?
Did you buy the wrong size manhole cover?
I bought the wrong size wood. Nope, I got it. Barely, but I got it. Barely. So I would say the wood round is just a hair under 12 inches because the round canvas fit no problem.
You may have to put little spacers in there to get it to permanently mount correctly so it
yeah,
doesn't shift.
It'll take a little jig, but it'll be okay.
You can do
just
that
to give you guys an idea.
Oh, that looks nice.
So that's what that looks like framed. I would say the wood rounds.
You may have to do some little.
Yeah, they'll need a little jig, but that'll work.
Yeah, that should be pretty cool. Let me hold on a second.
You can see that in the frame. I'm getting the frames for $30. The Frederick's canvas fit in there spot on. The wood round, this is the wood round, so it's just a hair off. But again, I could put little spacers and things in there actually that would hold it, or I could have a round mat that would press it down. But really, you're just trying to get it in something that's presentation. Now, the Victorian Frame Company has these gorgeous moldings, and you can give them exact measurements, and they have convex bubble glass that will go over it so you can have glass over your acrylics and not worry. Okay. I think we have a lot of people to say thank you to, sir. Okay, let me go myself. What does Kevin have to say about it?
Let's see here. We'll have to see what we've got going on over here. Where did you go? Let's see here. I'm going to have to change your sizing a little bit because you're a little
I'm a little small for Kevin.
You're
He'll
just a
think
little
I'm
small for us
food.
to. We're going to have to go back here and talk a little bit about what's. Shh. Let's try.
I love when I do big with my hands and then they're everywhere. They're elsewhere on the thing. Magic hands.
So we have the ability to. Are we going to thank folks first, or what are we going to do here?
Can Kevin visit us and thank folks, or is that hard to do at the same time?
You can't do it at the same time.
All right, let's visit
now.
with Kevin and then thank everyone.
Okay.
Because we should visit with Kevin. We got to check in with Kevin. Kevin, how are you? I hear things have been really intense out there in the ocean. Have you been doing okay? Oh, I am sorry to hear that. It is very scary out there right now. I want you to be very safe. Remember to swim out of the way if you can. How are the fish? Really? They didn't seem that gossipy to me. Really? They're super gossipy? They're talking about you? Well, we'll have to talk to those school of fish because that's not going to be acceptable. Kevin is an official OG Sherpazoid, Sherpanista from the original days. We will not let no school of fish talk bad about Kevin. I'm glad you feel good about that. So we're going to say thank you to everybody that contributes to our show. As you know, yes. Some of what you do contributes to Kevin Food, so he really appreciates it. And that keeps him from eating people that are bathing on the beach because we've really talked with Kevin. And when we first met him, he was going to snack on a swimmer. But we decided that Kevin was going to go vegan, which has gone okay. But now we provide Kraken complete nutrition for Kevin through your generous donations. Bye, Kevin. You swim safely now. It's very hard for a Kraken to social distance because there are like so many arms. Yes, we're adults. Can you imagine never seeing my show, seeing that this thing is live and some woman is talking to an animated tentacle, like a barely animated tentacle? You'd be like, I don't know what's going on over there in art, but it's not doing as well as like gaming right now. These people have lost it.
They've lost their minds.
Tracy says Kevin is well trained. Okay, so now here's the time of our show. I want to thank everybody for all the types of support that you guys give. When you share these links with your friends, when you tell people that there's free painting out there, when you post your paintings online and hashtag it TheArtSherpa, when you come into our group and you share what you're doing, but also when you're helpful to each other, when you, why am I flying? Oh, thank you, Kristen.
Let me adjust you a little bit more. I'm going to adjust you over there.
Oh, she's going to adjust me. It's purple on purple on purple, yo. Purple on purple on purple, yo. Purple on purple on purple, yo. Oh, I love doing this thing. I'm Stevie, come here. I'm sorry, I'm okay. Thank you, Coop in the Mountains.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you to everybody, those who contribute in Super Chat, which definitely does help fund the show. And then also to all of you that contribute by your love, effort, and support of each other. That is also a contributor.
Here's
thank you,
today's
Jessica.
Show. This is just a, that was yesterday's show.
That was yesterday.
So today's first supporter
It
was
takes
Jessica.
a minute to learn until.
So there's Jessica. Thank you, Jessica. And then...
Thank you, Manon.
Manon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Alyssa.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you. Only one Terlin Fink. Only one.
The only one.
I'm going to so Google that.
The only one in Sherpa land
She's the only one for us, though. Karen, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. She gave me a little smiley face with a heart. Thank you, Janine. Thank you very much. Thank you, Karen Hepner. Thank you. Oh, I see that you've been painting with us. You got a nice little like icon for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a Sherpa fix in 3 weeks. Man, we miss you too. Jillian Thomas, thank you so much and watching us overseas.
Yes, we can tell you're overseas because your money has the funny symbol in front of it.
Mm-hmm. That's how we know.
That's how we know.
That's how American minds know.
We're educated. We know stuff.
Thank you again, Kirsten. I appreciate it so much. And by the way, many other Americans are educated.
Look.
We're speaking only of ourselves.
That's right.
Jillian Thomas, thank you so much.
And see, this one's...
Tracy, thank you.
We know this one's Canadian because they get the ha in front of
That's
things.
right. Hello, Canadians.
Hello, Canadians.
Thank you for the donation for some Timmies.
So I'm going to go over here and go... Now, this is where I have to go load this other thing.
What is the other thing?
The other thing is the people who have given us stickers today.
Thank you, Stephanie Willis, for your pink ice cream cone.
She gives a pink ice cream cone.
I like pink ice cream. And Adrian Clement gave us a pear character exaggeratingly stretching his arm forward with a cup of coffee.
See? I have a robot. It takes notes. It just writes it down for me.
It describes it.
It's very verbose. It goes, well, it's a lot like, do you remember when you used to watch the Flintstones? And you'd open up you'd open up all our devices and there'd be like a little animal inside there actually operating it.
I think the Flintstones was based on the Honeymooners. Can I stop flying in the air? Oh, no,
we're going to work on that in just a second. We're going to work on it. Put you back down.
Thank you. I'm afraid of heights.
But a lot of my stuff ends up being like that, where you got this little, like you got a critter inside a box that's writing all this stuff down for me, and you think it looks really slick until you go inside.
We employ a lot of gnomes.
We do. We have a lot of gnomes.
Yeah, and they all have their socks. They are here of their own free will.
They're
employed.
That's right.
Employed gnomes.
There are a lot of volunteers.
And we have we have volunteer gnomes. But the techs are paid gnomes.
That's true.
They don't really volunteer.
They're for hire gnomes.
They're for hire gnomes. Tex gnomes are like, they're like, give me the money. Oh, thank you, Missy Lulu. Missy Lulu just did something. We have to thank Missy Lulu in the chat.
You, Missy Lulu.
So we can pop her up right there. I appreciate that so much.
We go find my buttons. And
I think she's concerned that Kevin gets fed so she can go swimming safely.
I totally understand.
You want Kevin to social distance from you. You really do. You really do. And he's kind of a mouth talker, and there's a lot of spittle, so you want him to wear a mask just all the time. Thank you, Staline. Staline says, great painting, Cinnamon. Thanks. Thanks to you and John and Mods. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. And I think we are getting to that time of day.
There it
you
is.
guys make our life. Are we popping up, Missy?
I'm finding it.
You guys make our lives worth so much. You have no idea that we got to bring this art to you originally when we started this. Thank you, Missy Lulu. But you giving back to us, too, and never doubt that. So I know many of you feel like we contribute a lot to your lives, but know that getting up every day and knowing that we're going to be doing this, please support the 3-minute videos as you see them launch. They're going to be quick little informational art videos. Subscribe so you get the notifications because they won't be live. It is a project in 3 minutes that you can do easily. It's going to teach you techniques and concepts really quickly, so you're constantly tuning up those techniques. Technique Tuesday was a very popular series, and we're just bringing some fast, art bites. Let's say they're art bites, little bites of art, little nibbles. So be sure when you see those to come by, thumbing up, share them with all your friends so they know that those are happening. I think there needs to be more of that fast education out there, along with these long art lessons so it fits all of the different ways we live our lives. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And John and I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.